Network. I will be your host, Pastor Hobbs, through till 9 p.m. I am so blessed to be live here in the studio with my friend and brother in the person of Robby Thomas, who is a major part of this We Move in Color, an outstanding production that I had the opportunity to be able to see when it initially premiered here in Boston. It was packed and it was just an outstanding event. So we're so pleased that he's here. We're grateful to support and to be a sponsor of, them the biggest sponsor of this broadcasting station, but for us to support this effort, We Move in Color. And I'm encouraging everybody, tell everybody that you know, make sure that you pack the house. You don't want to miss this event that's happening right here in the city of Boston. They're coming back for 2 nights only, I believe October 6th and 7th, and that will be at the Strand Theatre. And again, you don't want to miss it. So without further ado, I'm going to go right to the interview. How are you, my brother and friend?
I am so blessed, and I'm so happy to see you. It's been a while since we've actually seen each other face to face, man, and it just does my heart so good to see you, man. Indeed, man. It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
Indeed. And I got to tell you, man, so I was going on your Facebook page, and as I was, trying to do some promotion for tonight's interview, and I see now it said, how long have you been married?
I've been married about 6 years now.
Oh
yeah.
So that's
relatively new.
That's relatively new.
Yes, indeed.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, so happy for you, brother. He who finds a wife finds a good thing.
Amen.
And obtain a favor of the Lord. So
and I'm happy to report that the state of the union is strong.
Listen, that's a praise report right there, because it's work.
Yes.
It's worth that work that is worth doing.
Absolutely.
So, but again, 6 years.
I was thoroughly blessed to meet this young lady, and we had an opportunity to meet each other in Boston, and it just didn't necessarily start out being something that we're looking for each other, but it just turned out that God had other plans, and that became apparent, and eventually we decided that this is the thing to do, and so we ended up obviously getting married, and now residing in Las Vegas.
You live in Las Vegas?
Yes.
Wow. How long you been out there?
Actually, just right. Well, obviously, once we got married, certainly moved out to Las Vegas.
So you met her here?
Yes.
Is she from there?
She's actually from she's actually from California.
California.
She is she's from the Monterey area, and grew up there with her family. And she was actually working with a company that was based here.
Really?
And so she was back and forth.
Okay.
And we connected through a network. Mm-hmm. And it's been a beautiful journey.
Outstanding.
She's also, a dynamic vocalist.
Yeah.
And, we've had the chance to work together doing music, and now this production.
Yeah.
So she's a force on her own. She's stepped away from a corporate situation, and now is also doing her own entrepreneurial journey as a fashion designer. She's making handbags.
Oh boy.
Vegan leather handbags.
Get out of here.
The brand is called La Veda, which is named after her mom, and she just launched that. And so it blows my mind. Wow. The vegan leather is made out of cactus.
What?
It is the most amazing thing that you'll ever see.
So how can one access them? How can
you can go to the website, which is La Veda, Lavada, and the A has an accent because it's her mom's middle name. Laveda.com, I believe is the So she's doing her thing, and she's an entrepreneur, dynamic, both business and in arts.
That's
so
outstanding. Yes. I love to see we as the people of God taking dominion over the marketplace.
Right? Somebody.
I mean, it's
That's
time.
That's my talk, man. I
just love it. I love it. I mean, and it just it grieves me why. I mean, I understand it, but when we do these kind of things, I think it gives people an alternative.
Yes.
Right. To commercial. Right. Designers that don't they're not doing. They don't care about us. Aren't invested into our community. Aren't invested into the kingdom. Aren't even believers.
I'm a big proponent. I think you've known me for a while, and my background here in Boston has been in the banking industry.
All right.
And so, having spent 20 plus years in banking, I like to say 20 plus years because that sounds good. But it's a little bit more than that. But growing up essentially in the banking industry, but I actually started my career with the black-owned Bank of Commerce.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Boston Bank of Commerce. And so I have an appreciation for ownership, and especially African-American black ownership, which I think is extremely important as we, whether we be Christian or other, in communities of color, in the urban settings, we need to really, use your word, take dominion in terms of how we do business. Mm-hmm. We're good at buying. Yep. We're good at, spending our money. Yep. We're just not really good at cooperative economics and cooperating with, being able to leverage our buying power. Yes. Being able to leverage, our what we've been given as stewards in God's kingdom. Mm-hmm. It's a whole nother conversation.
Come on.
But a lot of my work involves really trying to empower individuals to become better stewards of what resources God has given you, and your talents, and your gifts, and your time. Yeah. But we've given a certain amount of resources, and we can go into the parable of the talents, and the one and the two and the many, and so we don't want to bury that one, because not only will you lose it, it'll be basically taken away from you, right? I did a message once on, and I'm preaching now. But
let me use you.
I was actually remembering a sermon I did on this issue of the talents. So one of the bad things about bearing a talent is that not only is it not doing anything, but it actually loses value. Mm-hmm. So when the master came back, it wasn't that the talent was not intact, it's that because of inflation, right?
Right.
You have less than you actually put in over time. You're talking about 20 years or whatever the time frame is. You start losing all that value when you could have done the minimal amount of whatever it is. So take it individually. We have all this talent that we have, and you say, well, I don't really have enough talent to do X, Y, Z. Well, you use it anyway. Yeah. Because eventually you begin to hone it and tweak it, and it becomes better just by usage. Yeah. Right. It's like a muscle. Yes. If you don't do something with it, it starts to fade and atrophy. So there's that wisdom and the principle of it. As a Christian and as a believer, we have to really be better at being good stewards. And so that's the mantra of, I think, my calling as a minister is to be able to say to folk, let's look at how we can look at exponentially growing what you have, being a better steward of your resources, of your time, of all the things that God has given you.
Outstanding, man. It's a great segue. One, we have to definitely continue this conversation offline because, one, here, we're on Boston Praise Radio and TV Network, the only black-owned FCC licensed, right? Because a lot of bootleg pirate stations going on, but this is, Bible is rendered under Caesar, the things that are Caesar's, and under God, the things that are God's. So I thank God for Pastor Bruce Wall, our founder and CEO, senior pastor of Global Ministries Christian Church, where Boston Praise Radio and TV Network, Boston Black News, WBPG LP 102.9 are all owned and founded and based right here in the lower level of the edifice of the Global Ministries Christian Church, taking dominion over the Media Mountain to do the Great Commission, right? And I just love it. It's such an honor. I had the opportunity when Pastor had this vision. You remember that WILD?
Yes,
that's
I remember.
All we really had, right? Yeah. And so I remember, it's funny, we have Bishop Harold Branch, who still broadcasts on this station, right? A living legend. I remember I was talking to his daughter the other day, who I just met on the phone, and I remember, he's older than I am. I remember as a little kid listening to what is it? I just said it, WILD, right? And I remember listening to Bishop Harold Branch, right? Remember Skippy White, right? I remember I remember coming from all the way from Haver, where I lived, taking the commuter rail and taking that train that was on the platform,
Yep, I
right?
remember.
Going to Dudley and going to the school. What school was it? That right there in the corner of Warren and Deckard. What is that school? English? No, what was Warren?
Yeah, it was Latin is over there.
Latin.
But it was
It's
a Latin
Latin.
school.
Yeah, it was there.
Yeah.
So that was
correct.
That was my first concert, and I remember it was just. And so here we are, and so when Pastor decided that he was going to launch this vision, he literally put a transistor radio in the pulpit and said, "This is, God has given him a vision," and here we are, over I don't know, maybe 15 years later.
Wow.
And God has built this multimedia ministry with a 73-year young man. 29 social media platforms that were on Apple, Roku, TV. It's just amazing. It's clearly the vision God has given him. And I thank you and We Move in Color for partnering with us to be able to really appreciate, the gem that this station is. And I really pray and hope that other people really, really comprehend and understand and invest in this gem that is really a prophet is without honor in its own hometown.
Yes, sir.
But we certainly do honor him and this vision, and I'm humbled to be able to support it. So again, We Move in Color, man. It was an outstanding event. The house was packed. So talk a little bit about the impetus or the vision of We Move in Color.
Oh, it's amazing. It's an amazing story. Wyatt Jackson and myself, we're really good friends, and we've always, talked about possibly doing something together. Interestingly enough, we did a few things. I've always kind of wanted to get more involved in producing events, and I've periodically done events, TV productions. I was an associate producer of a motion picture.
Wow.
And of course, music. But I've also been writing for a long time. I don't know if you're probably aware, but I'm a poet. My medium, I've also done columns, right? So writing has been kind of the way that I express my thoughts on issues and so forth and so on. You remember Raymond magazine?
Yes,
I was a columnist and contributing editor for Raymond for a period of time. So getting back to some of the thoughts that we had about how would you take the talent that Wyatt obviously brings to the table as a Broadway recording artist, triple threat rapper, R&B guy type thing, but obviously as also the child of God.
Yes.
To my writing, and how do we combine those elements and tell something that is powerful enough to really have some resonance in our community. And I invited them to come out to Las Vegas, and we went to some shows, and we kind of looked at some of the things that we could discuss as ideas. And we began talking about, okay, so maybe we can use the poetry and we can put some choreography to it, and then maybe utilize some artists, whether it be, actually we started talking about his cousin who happened to be a major artist, and African-American artist, who's not with us anymore. Anyway, we had some problems getting that squared away. We ended up talking to Paul Goodnight. And so Paul Goodnight's work is used as part of the immersive experience, as you've seen. And then you have the choreography, then you have the music, which was also created by a Grammy Award-winning producer in Gin Rubin, who lives in Seattle. And so there's all of these different things that begin to come together to really talk about the African-American narrative in a way that I don't know that we're seeing or hearing or have experienced, at least in my opinion. I know you've experienced it, and so I don't know that there's anything that we can compare it to.
I don't believe so.
Right. So, and the ambition was to take the stage in a way that tells the story pre-slavery.
Yes.
A lot of folks think that we don't really have a narrative that goes back beyond.
Yes.
We know we came across, through that transatlantic trade and the Middle Passage, but we really didn't have an idea of this continuous narrative. And so here's part of the impetus of that. I was sitting we were in a car with Jim Brown, We were doing some work with Jim Brown, the football player, and a famous, well, he's not famous, but he's a well-known Jewish executive. And Jim was talking about being in Israel and having some appreciation for how the Jewish people every year sit and talk about the Passover.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
As a continuous reminder of the journey coming, obviously, through coming out of Egypt. And it's something that they do up to this day. Every family, doesn't matter where you are in the world, that's being commemorated. African Americans don't really have a space or a dedicated time to say, here's our story, and how do we commemorate it? Not wallowing in the pain, right? Or the suffering, the dehumanization, all the evil things that certainly came out of that. But we also could talk about the beauty that came out of it. Right? The elegance. The essence, the resilience, the creativity. And so our narrative looks at those things and promotes those things. You know, we had jazz birth out of, that experience. We had, tap dancing birthed out of that. We had hip hop birthed out of that. We also had, the church was very instrumental in helping to push the civil rights movement, right? And it was the fire, if you will, and the inspiration for the kings, right? And so all of these traditions, all of these major historical factors play into who we are and who we became and who we're becoming as a people. And so all of that we try to fit into 1.5 hours of a production, but we do it with, and I would think you would agree, a really powerful sense of elegance and dynamism. So we're hoping to make sure that kids see it, adults see it, and it's multi-generational. There's something for everybody. And so that's kind of where it all sort of came together with both Wyatt and myself.
Wow, amazing. Again, I was so very moved. I was so pleased to see the overwhelming response. Right, the house was packed, and again, just as you said, everything that you said, I couldn't say it really any better. But I was humbled to be there and experience it, and I'm so excited that it's coming back because it was here, I believe, one night. And then you went to the Kennedy Center?
We went to the Kennedy Center we were there in the spring, and, they heard about it. They're like, we'd love you to showcase here. And so we were down in D.C. showcasing it, a different, slightly smaller version of what we did. But, just so you also know, when we were here last time, we partnered with Tufts University's drama department. We went to share with them, in lecture demonstration and talk about We Move in Color in terms of a historic context. We also went to Berklee College of Music and talked to basically the music therapy department there, invited us to do a presentation which streamed to the campus in Europe. Because there's a value and therapeutic value in music and art that I think we as a people haven't really always tapped into.
It's true.
Right? We are a very emotional, dynamic people that have always used dance. We've always used music. We've always used the art in some way, the divine in some way, to really deal with, the trauma that we've been through. And so, and what I think we were aiming at and trying not to do is to re-traumatize people. So a lot of people do things that talk about the pain, but they never find a way to, exit out of it, right? And they just let it sit. And it's really important for us, just like, the gospel is really about setting people free. We don't preach hell and then leave folks there. You know what I'm saying? So you got to tell people, well, what's the way, right? I know I'm in some stuff here, But how do we get out of
Yeah.
that? I think is the thing. So the art is also therapeutic in that sense. It's not just talking about the trauma that we experience, but it's also saying, here's how we dealt with it.
Yeah.
You know, we produced the Kings, we produced the Malcolm X's, we produced, you know, all the various kinds of, you know, Supreme Court justices and so forth and so on. And we've had all these amazing accomplishments. We're driving, in many respects, the culture, right? But we don't always feel a part of the American culture.
Yes.
Right? And so as much as this is an African-American narrative, it is American.
It's American.
It's all American.
That's right.
So it's an American story, but it's also an African story. Right? Right.
Yes.
And so those are some of the elements that I feel most proud about, is that we've got something that I think resonates. And we've got about 12 schools committed to come to view the show this time around. So we'd love to see, you know, a lot of people come. In fact, I would love to share with your audience. You know, we've got a couple tickets that somebody might be able to, you know, experience the show. So you let me know how you want to do it, but we'd be more than happy to share with your audience.
Yeah, in fact, let's do that now. So again, in fact, I'll let you articulate, but the number to call is 617-282-0685. I'm live here in the studio with Robby Thomas of We Move in Color. That's coming to Boston again on October 6th and October 7th at the Strand Theatre, and you can win a complimentary set. 2 tickets, right? All you got to do is pick up the phone and engage us. That's real simple, right? So the first caller that calls 617-282-0685 will be the recipient of complimentary tickets to this event that you do not want to miss. So the line is open, 617-282-0685, and the first caller that calls, we simply will bless you with a pair of tickets while we continue our conversation. So talk about the curriculum. I thought I saw, as I was reading the press release, that there is a curriculum, I think, that's going to be connected to this.
So there is. In fact, when we first started putting the piece together, we actually connected with someone who was affiliated with the Smithsonian in D.C., and that's one of the reasons we got connected to the Kennedy Center. And this person loved what we were doing. It's like, oh, wow, this is amazing, right? And so we collaborated and put together a curriculum around the content of the show.
Wow.
So as you've seen the show, so the each scene is its own story, right? So if we look at Reconstruction, you know, there's a piece there about what happened during Reconstruction. So obviously civil rights. We're talking about, you know, being in the cotton field. We have some, you know, what it meant, and you know how it impacted the economy, things of that nature. Obviously, it has to be age appropriate, but the bottom line is that there's a learning opportunity there that we eventually will be able to roll out in high schools or even at the college level, because a lot of the story isn't necessarily owned by the people that experienced it. Right? And one of the challenges today for us is that people are challenging history, challenging the narrative of history, and you can't challenge history. You know, you can try to reinterpret it. You can't really change history, right? But you can interpret it. But what we have to do, and just pretty much in the context of the conversation you shared about ownership, is that we need to own the story.
That's right.
You need to be the ones telling the story. And whether people like it or not, you know, the African-American experience was bitter. It was bitter for many, many years. And to some extent, you know, we're dealing with a cause and effect relationship of what happened then that impacts what happens today. You know, I've spent many years in the banking industry, and I know that the legacy of slavery, Jim Crow, has impacted economic opportunity for folks today, right? And so the disparity in wealth and so forth and so on, all of that stuff, it's related in some way. So art gives us the opportunity to have a conversation in a non-threatening way.
Yes.
It's not confrontational.
Yes.
And so it opens up dialogue. And there are people who are saying, this is extremely powerful. How can I, help you tell this story? And without getting into, because it's, to me, in many cases, it could be unproductive trying to just keep fighting and fighting and fighting.
Yeah.
We need to tell the story. Be the Byron Island kind of scenario is just go ahead and buy it. Let's just go buy the station. Let's go start the station. Let's go to the vision of Pastor Wall.
Yeah.
Let's start the station. Let's create the opportunity. I'm not going to continue to stick my hand out, but let's stick our chest out.
Yeah.
So that we can, tell our own stories, carry our own media, deem which stories are more important for us to tell, so that we're not always playing catch up. And so those are some of the really important elements, I think, in why we want to do this story in the way that we're doing it. Because we want to control the narrative. We want to tell our own story, and we can do it in the way we choose. And to your point, every scene, I think we had a standing ovation.
Yes.
If I recall,
yes,
every scene had a standing ovation.
Yes.
So there's something to be said about us telling our stories.
Absolutely. I mean, again, the way that the story has been told, it was educational.
Yes.
Inspirational, as you said, with Grace class. I mean, excellent, absolute excellence. This is not, I hate to say what they call it, the Chitlin circuit, right? This is not that, right? It really isn't, and I'm so glad that it's at the Strand Theatre in the hood.
Yeah.
But it is excellent. It's outstandingly produced and it's just packed.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. That, as you said, there's a lot packed in that hour and a half.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, intergenerational. Just
we put in some more stuff.
Oh.
So there's a couple other elements that were added to the show.
Oh, wow.
So if you saw it the last time, you can see it again.
Okay.
And still, get another context, because we kind of put some stuff in the 2000s. And if we wanted to make sure we incorporated the George Floyd era, so to speak.
Yes.
And so there's a component there that we sort of included so that it rounds off, a really great arc in terms of how that story from obviously pre 1618 or 19, whatever we would call it, 1600s all the way to 2020s. So it's a very, very powerful. I've watched this, we've recorded it, and I've watched this so many times, and every time I watch it, it's like I'm watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
And I'm involved.
Exactly.
So it's something to be said. You have to keep seeing it again and again, because there's something in there that harks us back to who we were, who we are, right? Like there's something like, one of my favorite things in this is the African drumming.
Yeah.
Right? And not that it echoes throughout the show, but there's something about hearing that sound.
Yes.
That makes you believe, that makes you know I'm connected to that.
Absolutely.
Right. so that's what hip hop is, right? It doesn't matter, kids, think that it came out of the drum machine. No, that came out of, the skin, the drum, the goat skin or whatever it is used to make that drum, that djembe sound, boy. When that stuff is, going, you start to really feel, and it does something to your spirit.
It absolutely does.
Settles you down, and it really gets you in and tune you in. And besides that, that's where worship comes from. It's another story.
No. It's the story. It is.
Yeah.
And so now, just 2 shows.
2 shows. There's actually a midday matinee we're doing that dedicated for the schools.
Nice.
Because they can, obviously they have kids, and you want to have them see the show during school, that school time. They can't be on the weekends. So we're doing something especially for the schools, and again, we've got about 12 schools committed to being there. So we're going to have hundreds of kids seeing this.
Wow.
The first time we brought the school kids in, they were screaming.
I'm so sure.
I mean, they were just, and we've got a couple of young, talented tap dancers that the kids are just going crazy over because we don't see kids tap dancing very often. And so we've got all kinds of dance. If you can imagine, you're going from African dance. We got ballet now. We've got modern dance. We've got hip hop. We've got, step dance. So we got all these different art forms that's being used to tell the story. And it all sort of connects to where we came from and ultimately where we're going. But we don't stop there. The last piece is a piece we call Afrofuturism. And it's really about where we're going, and it's about, not just, again, wallowing in what happened and who we were, but it's who we are and who we're becoming as a people, as individuals. And so we end that piece with, some of the images of individuals that are doctors and, people that are doing things in a different light, right? So that's another side of the arc. We're basically going from here all the way here. Yeah.
Wow. So now so that's the matinee, right?
Yes.
And but 7 p.m.
No, that's a 12 noon piece. That's not being you can't buy tickets to that.
Okay.
However, if you have a school or particularly middle school, high school, interested in participating, I can give my contact info.
Okay.
So you can reach out to me about that, which is info.wemoveincolor, all one word, .com. Send me an email. Let me know if you have a school that is interested in participating or attending the 12 noon Friday the 6th, the matinee, and we will let you know. First of all, we'll need to get a head count, and there's a special rate for that. I know we can't talk about that. So, but reach out to me and we'll get that squared away. However, on the standard opening night, 7 p.m. on Friday the 6th, if you are interested in a group attending or having information, or you want information about groups, please hit me up on that email as well, which is info.wemoveincolor.com, and just let me know what your group is. We'll work with you. We want people to be there, so we'll be flexible on the rates. We'll definitely take care of you. So
outstanding. So that's so groups as well as folks who for individuals or couples. Would they also? How would they get their tickets?
They can go right to wemoveincolor.com. Okay. And you can buy tickets for Friday or Saturday. And please, you absolutely need to see this. I cannot. It's amazing. We don't have to sell Beyonce. We don't have to sell Jay-Z. Right. But I'm telling you, we got to sell this because people don't always gravitate to things that I think are more educational. Yeah. But this is both educational, entertaining.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the richest cultural experiences you're going to have this year. I'll give you your money back if you don't feel that. Honestly, I will. I'll give you your ticket money back if you buy this tickets and you tell me, Mr. Thomas, I did not have a good time. I did not enjoy this. It didn't bless me. I'll be more than happy to give you that money back.
And that's inconceivable.
Yeah, it's inconceivable. Virtually impossible for you to say that. But hey, just in case.
Okay, but no. So 7 p.m. are the two the Friday and the Saturday.
That is correct.
Only those 2 nights.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you really don't want to miss this. Don't sleep. Don't miss this opportunity. God willing, Boston Praise Radio and TV Network will be in the house.
Yes.
And so we'll be doing some interviews and want to hear your experience, and but you will be blessed. And I'm so proud of you guys, man. I mean, to be able to know folks, right? Yeah. I mean, that are connected to this, and you and just, I mean, it was great to see so many people in the community too, who I've not seen for such a long time with COVID and so forth and so on. It was just outstanding to see people pack the house and the spirit that was just there.
Yeah.
So
there was certainly an outreach effort, and we want people to see and experience this, and certainly it was our coming out party, so to speak, in the debut of the piece. We auditioned people in New York City for this. We went down to this is a national group of people that are doing this, and so we have people from New Jersey, New York. We've got some Boston dance. We've got some talented Boston cast members that I think will really bring tremendous value to the piece. Last year we had Wyatt, but we have now 3 different dances. A couple of them from a dance studio in Randolph, I believe. Extremely talented. And so we've got some local talent that's really doing it. And we've got people from Seattle, and of course from Las Vegas. So it's a very, very wide base of talent. And these people really bring it. I mean, they that's what they do. They don't do this part-time. This is what they do. So we're hoping that at this, after this particular piece, that we're really going to take this on tour. We've had some opportunities to go to other states. The timing isn't right, but 2024 we're looking at obviously doing a full national tour and working with some sponsors. We're 501c3. We're not pending. We're legit. And so for folks that are looking to partner in terms of the corporate thing, we are available, because not only is this important as a historic piece, educational piece, it's also an equity and inclusion piece. It's about helping people understand diverse narratives. And there's so much value in seeing this that, in fact, last year, one of our corporate sponsors, Chase Bank, did the sponsorship and had their employees show up. One of the things that they did with a couple of their employees who are not non-people of color, they had them do it as part of their the corporate
diversity, or
not diversity,
racial?
But they have a they do their annual review process, and their equity, inclusion, DEI, all those types of things. They had them submit how what the experience was like as part of that, right? And so there's a corporate value. There's corporate value to this in so many different ways. So we've actually had good responses. We've had sponsorships from TJX, among others, and of course Chase, as I mentioned, and a number of other people, too many to mention. But we've gotten really good responses from people that are like, we love this. We absolutely love this. We want to support in whatever way we can. So we're very, very excited. We're very excited.
It's very, very exciting. So you are looking for additional potential corporate sponsors or sponsors?
Absolutely. Whatever we need to do to sit with them, to let them know what we're doing, why it's important, and we would be more than happy to have those conversations, because I know that there's accountability that needs to happen. I've been in the nonprofit space for a while. I'm in between for-profit, nonprofit for the last 30 years, right? So I understand that there's a governance, mandate and accountability and fiduciary responsibility, and we've got all those kinds of things that we've worked on to position ourselves to move the program forward.
So talk a little bit about some of the music now. Again,
Yes.
I know there's a soundtrack as well as your wife's music. Is it also a part of that or not?
So my wife is a vocalist, and she's the lead vocalist in this. But the music was created by Gen Rubin, who is a Grammy Award-winning producer out of Seattle. And the connection there is that he's actually worked with Wyatt in the past as a producer on Wyatt's earlier work with Here and Now, the R&B duo. And so, but he has done a fantastic job with all original music.
Really?
Yes. A lot of it is created from scratch, based on the script and based on what we were trying to convey. So it's nothing that you've heard before.
Wow.
Right? And it makes you, and that's part of the immersive experience, because the music lends support to the scenes.
Yes.
And supports to the story. Right? So yeah, that's part of that. So again, is unassuming, and he is also a brother of color, Asian and Jewish.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I love it.
He's a unique, but he's actually worked with people like Aretha Franklin and Mary J. Blige and a number of different people. So we've got some really credentialed individuals in every facet of this production.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again, the number is 617-282-0685, 617-282-0685. The first caller that calls us will be blessed with a complimentary pair of tickets to We Move in Color. And I'm going to actually, while we're waiting for our caller and we continue this conversation, I want to share, you have a little bit of your wife's music. I got it. Yeah. I think I got it. Yeah. So, but I want you to actually set it up. So,
which one is
this one? It says greetings, but actually, I think it was. It said, oh man, I'm sorry. Give me another second, because this was. So this one is Kingdom Journey.
Okay, so Kingdom Journey is the name of the album, and this is the title song from that album, and it's my wife's style of music. Anita Faye is her name, by the way. Her style of music is a little bit jazzy, and so she is a powerful singer, but she's actually kind of in between jazz and gospel in terms of her style, but she does both. And but this is Kingdom Journey. This is the one of the songs that was on her last album.
This is a song about love, y'all. I bring you greetings from heaven above. From the Father of love, I came to tell you, you are special. Don't you know in your uniqueness you have purpose? Yeah, I bring good tidings. I share the good news. Today's news is that it is you he wants to use. Don't you want to join the kingdom journey? It's an open invitation just for you. Walk in light and love. And love will come back to you. Don't you want to join the kingdom journey? Walk in light and love. Walk in light and love will come back to you. I bring you greetings from the truth that
And this is from our project, again, title cut as well.
Kingdom Journey.
Oh,
Name of the album.
Okay.
Yes.
And now where can one be able to get her music?
On all platforms,
All
Amazon,
digital platforms,
iTunes, Apple, the whole nine.
Outstanding.
Absolutely. Anita Faye, the name of the artist.
Okay, outstanding. Well, again, 617-282-0685. I'm here live in the studio with my friend and brother, Robby Thomas, who is with, or the producer, he's not with, he's actually one of the creators of We Move in Color, live here in the studio, happening 2 nights here in the city of Boston at the Strand Theatre. It's October 6th and October 7th at 7 p.m. You do not want to miss this. Again, if you're interested in being able to get group tickets, or you can, again, reach out to our brother directly if you're looking to be a corporate sponsor. There's a whole bunch connected to this. Again, how can they reach you?
You can call. You actually prefer to do email so that we have a sort of a record of who's reaching out. Info, INFO dot we move in color, all one word, .com, at gmail.com.
Okay.
Info dot we move in color at gmail.com.
Outstanding. So I'm gonna actually go to another song. We're waiting here. Our time is quickly actually coming to an end, but I really do appreciate one you taking the time, and we're gonna have some more interviews. This is not the end; it's just the beginning. So stay tuned. You're gonna hear more. We're looking to be able to do some more interviews with some representatives from We Move in Color, giving away some more tickets. So stay tuned to Boston Praise Radio and TV Network, and as we continue to support and show up, meet us there on the 6th and on the 7th. So this other song, talk about this song.
Well, this is certainly a standard that a lot of us probably know it as Precious Lord.
Yes.
And so this is Anita Faye's interpretation of Precious Lord. Yes.
Go ahead. I didn't need another second. I'm sorry. So it's her interpretation of Precious Lord.
Yeah. Or her rendition of it.
Yeah. Outstanding. So, here we go.
Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, oh, let me stand, 'cause I'm tired. I'm weak, and I'm alone. Through the storm, through the night, Jesus, please lead me to, please lead me on to the light, lead me on, let me stand, take my hand, precious Lord, please lead me home.
Wow. Amen.
Amen to that.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Again, I want to thank you, Brother Thomas, for one, just what you're doing, and looking forward to being able to partner with you, not just for this, but again, this kingdom dominion work. So again, 617-282-0685. That's the number to call. We've got literally 4 minutes before my time will conclude for this particular broadcast. We will be back on the other side of the top of the hour for yet another hour. And we will actually, though Bobby won't be here, we'll continue to give tickets over the air. So again, 617-282-0685. But before we let you go, brother, again, I'm going to just give you the mic and the cameras, and you speak to our listening and viewing audience, whatever you want to share.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here with you, and I want to commend you, and certainly want to commend the visionary of Boston Praise Radio. I know that, when you're building this type of work, it is painstaking. It's shoulder to the wheel, grinding out, and how difficult it is to operate in ecosystems that, we lack the kind of resources we need to do the work. But nonetheless, God called us to it, and we've got to put our shoulders to the wheel and make it happen. So I commend you, and we're certainly going to make a donation to the cause as well, and we'll make sure we encourage others to do so and to support. And of course, you've actually already reached out to a good friend of mine who I've worked with for many years, and that's Frank Jordan.
Yes.
And I know he's opened some doors. In fact, he was supposed to join me tonight, but I left him back at the hotel. He's tired and so forth and so on. So, but maybe next time we'll get him to hang out with us on air. Who's another powerful person. But just to really implore the listening audience to really be mindful of how important it is for our kids and for ourselves to tell our own stories, and to see the kind of images and powerful depictions of our historical key points, those high points in our history that has been painted one way, and not really understanding the nuances and the various important things that developed out of those struggles. We've got to be able to tell that story and not get lost in the trauma of it. We're traumatized people, and ever so often we live and re-engage and sort of kind of spiral in that trauma conversation. But we've got to learn how to get past it, and we've got to deal with it in a way that is constructive, cathartic, and I think the arts has a way, whether it be music or dance, the expression of, that's why God gave us those abilities.
Yes.
It's not for anybody else; it's for us.
Yeah.
About that, right? It's for us to really be able to create something wonderful through those movements of expression, or art, or the photographic eye. Movement. David danced before the Lord. I mean, he's a psalmist. He was a creative being, and so we've all got this proclivity towards, the idea of art is sort of skewed to Western civilization. Over here is high art. What you guys do is okay, but over here is high art.
Right.
So we are creating images and powerful stories that are compelling enough for people to understand this is something that needs to be reckoned with. And at the end of the day, I want everyone to see it. Don't let any barriers prevent you from doing that. Reach out to me if you got a question. Use the email I just gave you, which is info@wemovingcolor.com at gmail.com. Just hit me up. Let me know if you're interested and you've got some limitations. I want you to see it. And so don't let anything be an excuse. I want you to see the show because I think it's important enough.
Thank you again, brother.
Sure.
And thank you, our listening and viewing audience. We are going to pause to go to our station ID. We will be back on the other side of the top of the hour. And please stay with us. God bless you.